Hello everyone, welcome to lab practice session of chapter 4. So where we are going to add design to our food and fitness project. So that means from this skeleton design to this, we are going to change the background colors and font colors from the concepts that we have learned in chapter 4. Okay, so let's get started. So what you have to do is you have to copy the previous chapter 2 practice file of your lab practice and then paste it and rename it as chapter 4. Okay, so inside this we are going to do it in external CSS way. So please refer chapter 4 lectures to understand the different types of CSS. Okay, so inline CSS, internal CSS, and external CSS, right? So we are going to use external CSS to add designs to this project. Okay, so how the external CSS work? Okay, so I'll write the syntax. First, you have to create a file, create a CSS file. Okay, that we are going to do first. So that is the first step, and the next step is add this CSS into HTML page. Okay, so how can we add this? For that, as I have explained in the lecture, you have to use link tag. Okay, in your head section of your HTML page, in the head section where we will add title in that page, you have to add link and then you have to use the attribute called relative attribute, and then you have to add a value style sheet, and then here you have to add a href attribute where we are going to link. Okay, for any kind of linking we will use href attribute, right? So here we are going to link our CSS file to our HTML file. So this linking is going to work with this attribute href attribute where we are going to add our CSS file. So I'm going to name this file as style.css. Okay, so we are going to add this in the head section. This is how we are linking our external CSS to our HTML file. Okay, after that the third step is we are going to add style declaration. Okay, so in chapter 4 we learned only two style declarations. One is to change the font color where color is the keyword, and the second one is to change the background color, right? For that this one is the keyword, background hyphen color is the keyword. So we are going to apply this style declarations in our two pages what we have created so far. Okay, so this is the overview of what we are going to do in this lab practice. Okay, so let's get started. So open your Autumn IDE. So where close, save as, give save as, save as. So first create a new file and save that file as wherever we want to save our file. So style.css, right? So we are going to save it as style.css. Okay, just say this. So that is the first step, creating a new file. So you can just double check it. Style.css is got created. Okay, so that is one thing. And the next thing, we are going to add it to our HTML pages, right? So open your index page, where go to your head section. Okay, in the head section add a link tag and add a relative attribute. Okay, so inside the relative attribute, add a value style sheet. So the variable value is a built-in, so it will pop up. You can just select it, and then href attribute, you can select it, and then here you are going to give the exact name of the file, style.css, right? So just make sure the spelling is correct. Okay, so just copy this, save this, don't forget to save this, save. Okay, and then copy this code along this the linking code, and let's do the same thing in the fitness.html also. So we are going to add it in head section of the fitness.html, so that whatever you're doing in your style.css will get updated in both index.html and fitness.html. So our second step is done, right? So we have created the CSS file and we have added that CSS file into our HTML pages by using this coding. Okay, so then the next step is adding style declaration. Okay, so we are just going to add color and background color for few elements in our two pages. Okay, so let's get started with the style declaration. For that, go to your style.css. Okay, so let's start from the body color, the background color. So this is the file what we have, right? So this is the file that we have, and let's first add some background color to the whole body itself, right? So what will be the HTML element tag, HTML selector? So let me just discuss about the whole syntax. So what is the syntax for adding style declaration for particularly internal CSS and external CSS? Selector, okay, and then this curly brace, and then here you have to give the declaration, right? So inside the curly brace you will give the declaration. So inside the declaration you will specify the property, and then colon, and then value, and then semicolon. So this is the syntax. Okay, so this is the syntax to add style declaration. So first we have to select the selectors. So in the lab, in the theory part, I have explained four different selectors are there, right? HTML element selector, class selector, ID selector, and descendant selector. So we are going to use almost all the selectors in this lab practice, except descendant selector. Okay, so let's start with the body selector. Okay, so the HTML element selector. So here in our page, we want to change the background color of the whole page. Okay, so what will be the element that we have to select to apply this background color? So you can see the body. So here the body tag selects everything starting from the header to the footer. It covers everything, right? So we can select that as our element selector. Okay, to apply the background color of the body, we can just say we are going to select the body selector, which is an HTML element selector. And what we want to change? We want to change the background color. So what is the keyword to change the background color? Background hyphen color and semicolon. And here we can pick some value, and then we are going to add the semicolon. Okay, so this is what we are going to do. So let's do it. So go to your style.css, where simply you're going to add the style sheet. Should not have anything except this style declaration. Okay, so nothing is allowed there. So I'm just going to add body selector, where we want to change the background color. So you can just set since we have saved it as .css, the IDE will give you the variables, or assigned predefined values variables. Okay, so background color, what color we want to select? So for that, what you can do in Google Chrome, you can just say hexadecimal color picker. So where this one is good. Okay, so where I'm going to select this kind of purplish design. So remember the style design, it will be like a unity. That means one primary color and the other color should be related to the primary color, right? So I have selected this header as a primary color and all other colors should get along with that one particular color. Okay, so in that design aspect, I have just picked this. Okay, you can just pick anything. I have just picked this color value. So where you can just pick any from light color to the dark color, you can just get the shade of this particular purple color everywhere. Okay, so if you pick the lightest color of the purple, then you can see the hexadecimal values here, and then here the darkest color values you can see. So the can see this color. So everything, like wherever you click, that particular color value, hexadecimal value, can be picked up here. Okay, so I have just selected this lightest background color, the lightest one. So where I have already picked a particular color that I'm going to use, the background color is going to be this. Okay, so save. Let's check whether it gets updated or not. Okay, you can see now from here to here it got updated. We have changed the background color of the whole body. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to add some font color. Okay, already this is some kind of the black color. We are going to change it to some dark, some other black, like a not a 00 but little bit lighter black. Okay, so for that we are going to add color is the font color. Keyword for changing the font color is color. Okay, for that I'm going to add 333. So the shorthand notation for this could be just 3 threes. Okay, but I'm just using the longhand notation. So where now you can see it got little bit lighter. So it's hard to see between the 00000 to 6 zeros to 6 threes. There is a minute difference, hard to see. Okay, so I have just updated the font color value. So next thing that I am going to do to achieve this is changing the header color. Okay, so I have picked some color value from here for the header. Okay, so I'm going to apply this the header value. So header selector, we are going to apply it on our header element, right? So the HTML element selector is header, and I'm going to change the background color of the header. So pick the background color, and then I have already picked some purple color for the background, which I'm going to apply. So by using the color picker website, I have picked some color that gets along with all the elements. So I have just checked. You can see that I have just changed the background color of the header. Okay, so the next thing, according to the design principle, we have to bring the contrast, right? So now the black color font doesn't get along with the dark color background. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a font color of white. Okay, the white color you should be familiar now. F. So all the three color channels are going to have F. Now I'm going to just use the shorthand notation. Okay, so 3 F's instead of 6 F's. So now saving, and you can see it got updated. Okay, so we have changed the background color of the header and font color of the header. Okay, so next thing we are going to apply this navigation. We are going to change the navigation. You can see this is the navigation style that we want to apply. Okay, so for that I have already picked the color picker. From the color picker I have picked some value for the navigation that I am going to apply. Okay, so what is the selector that we have to use? The HTML selector. We are going to apply it on our navigation tag, right? So navigation tag. So the HTML selector is nav, right? So nav, and then what we are going to change? We are going to change the background color. So just pick the property as a background color, and I have already picked some value for the background color. I'm going to apply it this color. Okay, save, and then just refresh. You can see that got updated. Okay, and also you can see that the same color I have selected for the footer as well. So we can just do it for the footer as well. So how can we do that? Add a footer element selector. So we are going to apply it on the footer. The selector is footer, and you can just simply copy and paste this color value on the footer as well. Save. So you can see we have added it in the footer. And the next thing that we are going to do is adding some values to the this H2 element. So the tag H2 tag, we are going to add some color value. Okay, so what color value we can add to the H2 element selector? So the selector is H2, right? Where we are going to add? We are going to add here. Okay, what is the element? H2 element. So what is the selector? H2 is the selector. We are going to apply it on our H2 element selector. And here we don't want to change the background color. We want to change the font color. To change the font color, the keyword is just using the color. And I have already picked some color value that gets along with the other element for the H2. So this is the color value that I have selected. Okay, so you can see the HTML element selector got updated. And the next thing that I want to do is I want to give names like you can see. So you can see the food and fitness. So here wherever the food and fitness comes, I want to change the color, a special color. I want to give some special color for that. Okay. So for that, how can we do? How can we do that? Okay. So inline element selector, inline element. How can we do inline element? If you watch the chapter 4 lecture, you can see there is an element called span element. We can use the span element to do this. Okay, so we are going to use the span element to apply this color, the particular inline style declaration. So span, I'm just adding a span tag. Okay, and that span tag covers only the food and fitness, the name of the company. Okay, so that gets covered. So only whatever you apply here, that will be applied only to this food and fitness. So this is called inline element. So we have another inline element. Maybe we can just expand it to food fitness center. Okay, so here we have one more food and fitness. The name of the website is here, so we can just add it here as well. Span. Okay, now we are going to apply some style declaration here. For that, we are going to use the next type of element selector called, we cannot use span here. Okay, we can, instead of using the span, we have to give a name. Okay, so here only we can use either class selector or ID selector. So class is the most commonly used selector. So I'm going to use class selector. So the keyword, the syntax is, you have to specify the keyword class. Inside the class, you have to give the name of the class. I'm going to use the name, it's a name as a class name. Okay, so say, and also here, wherever you're using, there you have to specify. So here also I'm just applying the name class selector. So I'm adding a class name here. So the HTML part is done. Now I have to apply the style declaration here. Okay, so how can I do that? So here, recall how can you specify the class selectors? Dot, and what is the name of the class? Class dot name. When you specify the dot, the browser will understand that you're specifying a class selector and the name is the class name. It will pick the class name. Okay, and then here I'm going to change the color, font color of the company name. Okay, so the company name is getting highlighted with some different font color. Okay, so I have already picked some font color value. You can just pick your own style, own color. You can see now it got highlighted. Okay, so that is for color. And also I'm going to do one more style declaration. So you might have noticed that in div tag, we have added div tag, right? previously we have added div tag. In chapter 2 we already have div tag. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add an ID here, ID selector. Okay, so that is the third type of selector. We are going to add ID selector. So for that we have to use keyword ID, and the name of that ID is going to be address. Okay, so say I'm just adding an ID here, and I'm going to add style declaration for this ID here. So remember, the property of the ID selector is it can be applied to only one selector. If you are supplying something in ID, then that those specification cannot be applied to any other element. Okay, that is the main character of ID selector. It should be unique. Okay, so whatever is given inside the ID, that should be unique, that cannot be applied to other selectors. So here we have selected the ID is some color of gray color value, so that cannot be applied in any other element. So we have changed the element which holds the ID property is going to get displayed with this some kind of gray color. So all over, it's very minimal. It cannot notice it, it's not very obvious, but we have changed the background color of this sorry, not background color, font color of this address. Okay, so to make it more obvious, I'm going to just bold everything. Okay, so I'm going to bold everything in the address spot. I'm going to bold the address spot. Okay, save, refresh. So you can see now it got bolded. Okay, so we have added class selector here, and then ID selector here, and then we have applied different kind of HTML element selectors. Okay, so this part is done, but I want to add one more. So if you, since we have linked this link tag to both index.html and fitness.html, we have linked, so it will be applicable. So whatever you have specified in the style.css, it's not getting updated only in index.html. If you click fitness.html, then still everything whatever you have specified, the background color of the header, navigation, font color, everything is getting updated in both pages. The reason is we have linked that style declaration to both index page and fitness page. Okay, so here in fitness we want to do some more stuff, because whatever we have done, it's only like for the header, navigation, footer, body, right? So we have added some class and ID declaration in index, but let's do something for fitness. So the one unique thing that we have in our fitness page is the DL tag, right? So what we will do for this questions, to make this questions, let's give some different colors for this questions. Okay, so the question can be in different colors. So what element selector that we can select for this, that is applicable to all the questions? So we can simply select DT as an element selector, so that whatever we specify inside the DT selector, for the DT selector will get applied to all the DT selectors. That means all the colors. Okay, so what I have done, I have picked some color value for DT. Okay, so I'm going to apply that color value. I have picked some color picker value. From here I have picked some value. You can just pick your own, but say, so DT. So I have just picked, and I'm going to apply it on our save, reference. So that is a very minute color change. You see, I don't want to give very obvious difference. It will be weird, so I just it got updated. The DT color values got updated, kind of dark purplish color. Okay, so that's all about the external CSS. Okay, so we have created a new CSS file, and we have linked those files to our HTML page, and in our style.css we have added all those style declarations. This style.css will not have anything except this style declarations. So we are following the syntax selector and declaration, which the declaration has the property and the value. Okay, so we have just changed the color and background color of few elements. Okay, so see you in the next video.